Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from Peace World.
White men, you need to be at the front of the lines. You need to be the ones to take the hit.
What hit?
You need to be the enemies of the state.
What?
We're counting on you.
Do we need Operation Human Shield going on right now? And instead of black people, it's white people, like in South Park? Or the opposite of South Park?
Exactly do we need to be at the front of the lines for
right?
now? What exactly do we need to take the hit for now? Because for the last 7 to 10 years, I've been being told that I'm the problem for everything.
True.
Just because I'm a white man.
Cisgendered white male.
Oh, they can throw Christian and single on top of it, and I'm the worst of the worst.
Yep.
Proud American? Ooh.
Christian, single. Yep.
Ooh, Public Enemy number one right there. Had the FBI looking for people like me because I'm a Christian and I love my country. Number one with a bullet under the last administration. Big problem. According to some women on the left, Ilhan Omar and Jasmine Crockett, for example, I should be in prison because people like me are the ones that need to be worried about. So please, madam, tell me what I need to be at the front of the line for now. Tell me what my other brothers need to be at the front of the line for now. Because you don't like the president? Go protest. Go hard. Have fun. Y'all chose the bear because we're no good.
Yep.
Get the bear to do it for you.
Yep. My man. My man. All he needs to do is get to the gym and he's on his way.
I'm not doing it. Most men aren't doing it. And it's not because we can't. It's not because we're whatever. We're misogynist. We're this, we're that, we're the other. Because we're sick of it. We're sick of the abuse.
True.
We're sick of being treated as less than. As being the last choice. So no, I'm not going to the front of the line. I'm going to take my happy butt to the back of the bus, where I'm going to sit with my friends. And then later on today, we're going to go to the gym and we're going to work on
my man. My man. My man.
I'm going to get myself better.
Good for you,
I suggest
brother.
you get yourself better.
Good for you.
See, here's the thing. You're saying we need to make ourselves the enemy of the state. I don't have any enemies. Not on my side. I don't have a bad feeling in my body for anybody, for any human.
He's better than me. I have some bad feelings myself.
Pedophiles don't count because they're not humans. Other than that, no ill will towards my fellow man, which includes my fellow woman. But no, ma'am. Especially if you can't be bothered to tell me what it is I'm supposed to be fighting for. You make yourself an enemy of the state. You put yourself at the front of the line.
Some profound words being spoken here, and a lot of white men agree with this, and I've said this before. You cannot demonize a group based on nothing but who they are intrinsically, like their race and their religion, and expect them not to rebel. And this is what has been happening to white men for a good minute. Like he said, 7 to 10 years.
Maybe a little bit longer.
Christian white male? Oh my God.
White men, you need to be at the front of the lines. You need to be the ones to take the hit.
Not a fucking chance. Like, y'all can't be serious right now. You spent the last, we'll say 4 to 8 years telling us how fucking awful we are. Like, y'all called us everything from fucking toxic to destructive. Shit, you told us you would rather choose a fucking bear than us. You told us that white men were destroying the fucking country. Shit, you told us we were destroying the fucking world. I believe recently that Ilhan Omar said we have to find a way to deal with the epidemic of white men. Like, y'all have done every possible thing you could over the last 4 to 8 years to marginalize the fuck out of us, to make us the bad guy in everything, to make us the fucking boogeyman. And now we need to be at the front of the line. Now we need to take the hit. Absolute.
And again, we don't even know what they're in the front of the line for and taking what hit.
Fucking
what's
not.
the hit?
You guys have done everything you could to relegate us to a stance where we had no power, and that's what made you happy. So we're going to go ahead, sit in the back, drink our tea, and watch you deal with your own problems. Leave us the fuck out of it.
Here's the problem with these discussions and with how the other side speaks about white men. The language they use is the problem. They will say things like, white men are the problem. And
They say cisgender white Christian conservative. So yeah.
they'll say things like, men are the problem. Not some men are the problem. Not some white men are the problem. No, white men, men. And then they'll go, if you feel offended by that, then you're probably the problem. And it's like, no, you just said men are the problem. I'm a man. You just said white men are the problem. They are white men. They are going to feel a certain type of way. If you use more of a specific language, these men wouldn't feel offended because they would know exactly who you're speaking about. And then they do this thing where they'll be speaking about the government, but they blame the people for what the government are doing.
Correct.
So
Right. No, they contribute white males as the government itself.
So the US government, mostly white people, probably mostly white men. The British government, probably the same. The French government, probably the same. These countries will go out and do what they do, right, which is bad shit, and then they will blame white men, like if the regular working white guy has anything to do. And this is what they do with, like, oppression back in the days.
Yep.
Right, they'll go, men were oppressing women. And it's like, really? Really? Was it men or was it the government? And when you combine all these things, there are clearly a lot of white men out there who just feel like everyone's against them.
The left wants to win back men. It needs to show them kindness and compassion and speak directly to the issues they feel like they're facing. Is what I would say if the left lost men because of a lack of kindness and compassion and didn't speak to the issues men were facing. The problem is, the issues men feel like they're facing is rooted in misogyny and patriarchal structures that they believe that they are better, that they deserve to be pampered, that they deserve to be spoken directly to on every single issue. When you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. And young men have raised to the right not because the left is telling them they're evil, but because their actions are kind of evil. You don't become a Republican because someone called you out for your misogyny without already believing a lot of the things Republicans believe. And you don't win back men by almost affirming to them that they need to be pampered to, because they don't. You win them back by making it untenable to have these right-wing beliefs, by making it social poison to be misogynistic or to be racist. And yeah, some of that comes through shame.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. These men are coming out and saying that they've been shamed so much and demeaned so much that they've gone to the conservative side. And this is in America. And let me tell you something. In the UK, conservative or reform, one of them are winning the next election. It's going to happen. And your idea is to continue to shame. Someone on your side has said, we need to figure out a way to win them back. And you've gone, continue to shame them, even though that's what pushed them away. Someone in your side actually wants to win. So they're saying, how do we get these men? Because we're losing and it's not even close. How do we get them back? And you're saying, continue to shame. You want to be morally right. You want to be on a moral high ground more than you want to win, which is why you feminists are idiots and you will continue to lose. I'm not conservative. You guys know this. But being conservative doesn't automatically mean you're a misogynist.
True.
It doesn't automatically...
Yeah, I think we kind of figured out that P isn't so conservative, but he's still... I still enjoy a lot of his takes, even though some of his takes I don't agree with.
Mean that you're racist, but because that's how you see all of them, it gives you the moral high ground and the comfort to shame them, which is pushing them more and more and more to that side.
Yep.
Women don't hate that they're getting older and they're losing their beauty. They hate that they wasted the best years of their life on your useless son.
Let this be a perfect example
What? What?
of why so many men have stopped dating altogether. We always talk about women and accountability, and at the end she says women are tired or they wasted their best years on your useless son, as if women don't make their own choices and don't hold their own accountability, and there's consequences to their actions.
Yep.
Additionally, the beauty standard that she's talking about is set by women to judge other women. Men are not walking around saying, oh yes, I would really love a queen with fake lashes. He would really love a queen with a BBL. The majority of men would rather a woman, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, to all the men out there, you would much rather prefer an authentic looking woman than someone who is fake and plastic to fit the beauty standards of the next woman. And that's why we have so many women walking around looking the exact same.
Yep. The Instagram model look, my God. My God. It is a lot of, again, maybe it's just me because I live in LA and OC, which is very, very prevalent of this look we speak of.
Y'all look the exact same. Carbon copies of one another.
And they all go to the same surgeons.
She's completely right. And I don't know who created the standard. You could say it was these artists, right? But women definitely maintain the standard. And no matter how much men come out and say that we prefer more natural women, they will do everything to make us look like we don't.
Yep.
Men don't know what women look like without makeup. Men don't know what natural is. We're grown men. We've woken up next to a woman. We know what women look like in their natural state.
Like, we've had our own mothers, right? We've seen our own mothers grow up without makeup and with makeup. We understand what it looks like.
A few people DM me and ask me for a longer version of why waiting till marriage was a mistake, so I'll explain. Also, if you're my mom or you know me in person, probably keep scrolling. I know you're all nosy, so I'll just start with the big one. First was a physical incompatibility. We had messed around before marriage, but we had never had actual intimacy until marriage. There was an unexpected size difference that made intimacy uncomfortable or even painful on occasion for both of us. Moving on, there was also a...
Bro, you packing that much heat?
Libido inconsistency. I have a low to moderate libido. She had a high libido, so I would be happy with once a week. She wanted it more often than that. And
once a week?
Bro.
You look 23, 22, 23, once a week? In 10 years, 15 years, well, you're just gonna be good off sex? Damn.
Ended up causing some strife in our relationship as well. Third was religious pressure. When we were dating, there were often times that she would push boundaries physically, obviously because there's a little bit of a libido difference, and then would blame me once we had done something for not stopping her, for not being the man and being a leader of God. This led
Jesus, bro. Yeah, that would be, that's just setting you up for trap.
to a lot of covert resentment that built up and came to a head in arguments after we got married, because she would say, oh, why don't you want it now? You always wanted it when we were dating, which isn't necessarily true. And the fourth and most benign reason is that when you're married to someone, they're your forever roommate. And just like a roommate, sometimes there's incompatibility in sleeping schedule, how you sleep, when you wake up, what you do for organization, how you clean, when you eat, what you like to eat. There's a lot of friction that's possible there.
Did you not date this person for a good amount of time? You should experience and realize a lot of these things before you got married.
Far more sense to live with someone before you're married, to understand if you...
I actually somewhat agree with this. A lot of people disagree with me, and stats kind of disagree with me too, saying when the people cohabitate, they end up breaking up. But if you don't cohabitate, you're not going to find out some of these things that the other person does on a normal basis at home.
Even are compatible as life partners. We split up after 6 months due to a completely separate issue, actually, but waiting until marriage definitely contributed to a lot of the issues that we'd had. When you wait until marriage, you are flipping a coin on whether or not it's going to be successful. You're essentially...
Bro, No, if that was the case, virgins wouldn't be so happily married all over the place, a lot more often than people that have had premarital sex. Get out of here with this.
Like going into a relationship, leaving 50 to 60% of that relationship completely up to chance. Also, many couples that do wait until marriage have...
I think the only thing you're gonna like not find out is sex. And that, yeah, I admit sex is probably like 30%. So you still got 70% of what you wanted. Or like in everything else that kind of matters in life. Sex, you can make it work. I feel like sex, you can make it work.
Sexual compatibility issues after marriage, specifically because of the guilt and shame that was built up around the act of physical intimacy. Anyway, long video, no one's gonna watch it, but...
First thing, I think when people watch this video, they have to understand how he's speaking. He's clearly very, very religious. He waited until marriage. People who are religious do have religious guilt. So they'll do something, and I remember experiencing this when I was 16. You'll do something like you know you shouldn't do, and you will feel like shit. You feel like you gotta pray, you gotta repent. So I think that's where they're coming from when it comes about the guilt. It's a real thing for them. But I don't know if waiting until marriage was the problem.
I agree with P. I don't think it was the waiting until marriage.
How did like you guys work?
They're not vetting each other and seeing each other through all these other lights at first.
Compatible in the first place. The biggest red flag for me was the lack of accountability she showed in her own actions. Yep. To me, that would have been the biggest no, don't get married, because she want to do stuff, we do it, and then you blame me, and you're talking about as a man? Huh? But when it comes to a relationship, there's no perfect way to get into them. There's no blueprint. For some people it's gonna work, for some people it's not gonna work. When you look at the data though, people that get married younger are better off. People that have less sexual partners are better off.
That's what I was saying. Me and P are on the same boat. Like, I don't know what that gentleman was saying, but about, not the sexual compatibility thing, but everything else that he was saying, those things you can actually find out before you get married.
So this is just his personal experience. Take it with a grain of salt. Not everyone's is going to be like this, obviously. True.
What I find interesting about women right now is that they want a liberal man with conservative values.
Yep.
As in
I think they more want a conservative man with liberal values. I think it's that.
Want you to vote for Kamala Harris. They want you to be a liberal man, but also uphold traditional patriarchal societal norms like protecting and providing.
I think it works either way. If you're going to be a conservative man with liberal values or a liberal man with conservative values, I think it ends up being the same type of person that they're looking for.
And you're probably wondering, well, Chad, what's the issue with that? The issue with that is they're usually one or the other. As in A, they're liberal, and their mindset is, well, why should I pay all the bills if she works and I work? Why can't we be a team? I don't believe she should stay home and cook and clean. She can go work too. I can go work too. While the more conservative man goes, hey, it's my job to protect and provide. If she wants to stay home, she can. So girls want a liberal man, because they want you to vote for Kamala Harris, but also uphold traditional patriarchal norms.
Yep.
Now, are there guys out there who are liberal and also believe in patriarchal norms? Yes. However, it's just harder to find. So hopefully this lands on Girl TikTok, so you guys can either stitch this video or leave a comment on how are you finding this duality of man where he's both things at the same time.
It's very rare, or he's very low on the conservative end and very low on the liberal end. He's just more in the center.
That are usually counterproductive.
I want to say I'm the more of the center, but lately just leans more towards conservatism.
They want the best of both worlds like Hannah Montana, okay? They want the perfect man. Like I say, he doesn't exist. He does not exist.
Imagine if there was a man to women's standards, 6'5", conservative, liberal, protector, provider, but, loves women's rights and thinks women can, do whatever they want. Yeah, that man literally does not exist. There's no one of any close to that. what, 6'5"? I think there's only like 300 of those men, like 300 to 450 men that are 6'5" and over. Good luck. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time.